Well, it looks like it's vault time, but not without getting our inventory first. Let's just come right here and beautiful. And looks like we're ready. Wow, that felt like such a good vault. Let's check out what we got. Not too bad. I guess I'm happy with that. We can just send it to storage. Okay. Listen, in case you missed that, you can instantly deposit all your vault gear from one button. Then, from one inventory, you can view all that gear and all that loot. And then, you can send it all to storage from one final button. Okay, I'm done with the fingers. Anyways, and when you're ready for your next vault, you just step into place and it restores your inventory back to the order it was, and it equips your armor. And you're about to learn how to make it. But before that, if you haven't heard by now, you can call me Zoofy, Zuffy, Zoofy, or Zoof, and this is Zoofology. So you're about to notice pretty early on just how many mods this is going to take. So starting off, we have modular routers, then we have Dank storage, of course, Xnet, RF tools storage, and then RF tools utility. And you need some type of power mod. So just keep that in mind before starting this. I'm going to go ahead and start by placing as many routers as I have Danks that I take into the vault. And then in front of those, we're going to place docks. Now, you could do one row, but I like 2 rows. But don't do any more than 2 rows of docks. Docks. So after that, I'm going to take my Xnet controller, place it down right here, and a storage scanner, and place it down right here. Because I like symmetry a bit. But I'll run the symmetry in a second. You'll see. Now I'm going to grab my screen controller from RF Tools Utility. I'll place it right here. And I will grab, let's see, next up we have advanced blue connectors. Let's come down here and place all of these here. This doesn't need to be, sorry. Go, and we're going to place these across the top so that every dank is connected. However, I will need a Xnet cable. We'll need one of those right here just to connect it up because the connectors are quite a bit more expensive. So now we want to have some type of storage. Anything. It can be a chest, it can be a barrel, anything works. I'm going to go with the barrel because I don't know what's going to go on top of it by the end of this building, or this video. Okay, so I'm going to grab my screen from RF Tools Utilities, and I'll place it right here. And that's how we're going to dump all of our stuff. So, we need to handle power now. Like I said, good thing I added a barrel there. So, blue connector on top of that. This already has power because it's getting it directly from that cell. Now this can be anything. Doesn't have to be RF tools. Any way to get power is fine. We just need power into this network, and then this will handle everything else. I'm going to create a channel for energy. And I want it to be in on the controller, in on the screen controller, in on the storage scanner. And all of these are going to get power from this dimensional cell. So it's set to extract. So now they should all have power. Yep, they do. And I will go ahead and scan with my screen controller. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get the storage scanner set up now. I'm just going to come down to this and bring this range up a bit to about 10. we just need it to be able to reach this iron barrel. So we're going to star the iron barrel and we'll raise it to the top just to make it easier to see. And then we can basically just close that. Now we'll grab our dump screen module. And this is pretty easy to make. Just a couple buttons, iron, and 2 redstone. And we're going to have 10 text screen modules. Black dye, iron, paper, redstone, also very easy. And if it wasn't, that'd be too expensive. Because all of these are literally just placeholders to put that button at the very bottom of the screen. Now go ahead into your dump module and add each item you're going to bring into the vault with you. For your gear, it just needs to be any piece. It doesn't have to be the one you specifically bring. For your danks, it just needs to be that specific tier. So just one of each tier that you actually have. And then for the idols, Velara is going to have to have one. Tenos will have to have one. Wendar will need one, and so will Adana. So each god. And you can go ahead and name it to whatever you want. I put the button label as Deposit Vault Gear, which you can see here. So next up, we're going to tell the modular router when to right-click the dank dock with the dank to insert it, and when to crouch right-click the dock to remove it. So go ahead and make sure that you have, for however many danks you have, you need this many modules. Oh, and a sink. So you will need, I have 6, so I'll need 6 puller modules and 12 activator modules. But inside these activator modules are redstone augments. So for every dank you have, you'll need 2 activators and 2 redstone augments. So for the filters, for the puller module Mark II, so that you can pull from a certain place, I'm going to crouch and right click, assign it to here. It needs to have danks as a whitelist. The activator module, the first one, doesn't matter the order actually, but I have a blank whitelist set to front, sneaking, and it has a redstone augment set to low redstone mode. In our second activator module, we have the danks set to a whitelist, front, no sneaking, and this one's on pulsed. Pulsed is important. And of course, they just all need to be on the same sync channel. Make sure it's not synced up with another channel though. And yep, so it's already tried to pull. So go ahead and come to the back and clear out just a little bit of space underneath. We need to go ahead and basically get a signal, a redstone signal, whenever these routers get danks. And then we need them to put those danks into the dock. So now we're going to tell it how to do that. So in this router, I'm going to put a detector module. And I have it set to down. So it's going to point down whenever it gets any item into its inventory. So I'll go ahead and put that in here, and I only need it in one of these, just the one. And from there, it should just, it has a dank in its inventory. You can see it changing. No dank. Perfect. Okay. So after that, we're going to bring that signal out with the sequencer. This actually was not enough space. Okay, bring the signal out with the sequencer. And then it's going to go into logic. And we're going to set the other part of this logic up in a moment. But we want this to be on right here. So the third one's going to be on. Okay, let's go to, we need a transmitter now. One without a channel, good. No channel. Go ahead and set that, and now we need the receiver. And we just tell it to send a signal into all of these, because I have the redstone transmitter, receivers sync to it, and now it's going to send a signal into here. So after that, got that right here, We have all of those receivers. We actually need to get a receiver and send a signal into a connector. So it doesn't actually work directly into the connector for some reason. So what I do is I just put this here and then a redstone. Put a redstone down. We don't need that connected. There we go. And that's going to help us for later. Okay, so add our sequencer. Let's go ahead and get into the menu and just copy what I'm about to do. We're going to flip it, tick the first two, set the delay to 2, end on white, and once 2. I'll give you a moment to get all that down. So after that, you can go ahead and test it right now. If that's all you wanted, then there you go. Very simple. But if you want to go a step further and have it give them back to you, along with all of your inventory, let's do a little bit more here. Start off by placing down a dispenser pointing up. In front of that dispenser, we're going to grab an item router. I'm going to have it face the dispenser. Now that item router is going to need a couple things. A few things, I guess. So a sender module. Now this sender module needs to have vault gear in it. Vault, basically stuff you can equip to yourself. So you're going to want this stuff. And it's going to be set as a whitelist. So if it's one of these items, it's going to be sent to this dispenser. Let's go ahead and put that in here. We need a vacuum module. This is going to suck up our danks just to make sure that like we don't miss them. Because you definitely don't want to lose a dank. And we're just going to set up all the danks in this whitelist. Just like that. And of course, even if you don't have these, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and whitelist them. Dank 7. Crazy. So whitelist them. And it can be any direction, that's fine. Go ahead and add some speed upgrades. Actually, to this vacuum module, let's add the fast item augment. There we go. So with that, I should be able to give it this and then put it in this dispenser. Perfect. I did go ahead and install 6 stack upgrades and a dropper module to drop items up, and it is not allowed, so it has a blacklist for each vault equipable piece. So those will be dispensed onto the player rather than dropped to the player. That's what we want. I went ahead and cleared out a little bit of space underneath where we were just working. So obviously a dispenser needs redstone to work. So we're going to use a sequencer. On this sequencer, we're going to come to the 4th row, and every other one of these is going to be white. And then once 2, and we'll set the delay to 2. And basically what's going to happen is after this dormant period, or it gets a redstone signal, after a dormant period, it's going to send tick, 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 and then it's going to be dormant again. And that's 4 ticks, 1 for each armor piece. So it should actually equip all of your armor to you. So now we tell it when to give us the armor, which preferably we want it whenever we're standing on that dispenser. So let's grab a sensor from RF Tools Utility, and we're going to put this right here, skipping a block, facing down. Now we'll grab a transmitter with no channel and send it into that transmitter. We're going to tell this in an area of, so 1, 2, 3, it's going to need to be 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I'm in one of those 2 spaces, it's going to look for a player, a single player, just one, in an area of 5 above it. And if it does, it's going to send a redstone signal to this transmitter, which will transmit it to this receiver, which will send into this sequencer. So while you're here, go ahead and grab another redstone receiver and sync it to this same channel. Okay, so let's come down here, and next to this logic, we're going to now tell it what to do with this logic. Sequencer going into it, and that redstone receiver going right there. So I'm going to set this delay to 4, You'll need to play around with this for yourself. I'm gonna set it to once too. Let's go ahead and flip it and clear it. Wait, that did the exact same thing. Clear it, then flip it. Okay, there we go. And I'm gonna set these right here. Probably about to there, maybe. I don't know. You'll have to play with it yourself. Depends on how many items you whitelist. So now hopefully the Danks will be given to us after all of that other stuff. And while you're here, go ahead and take this receiver back, sync it to this receiver, and go ahead and replace that. Before we jump into our Xnet logic, let's go ahead and finish this up. And that pretty much finishes this. So I just placed a cable and a connector because this router needs to be routed items. Okay, so in our controller, we are going to come to our iron barrel and we need a item channel. Yep. And we're going to create an extract on this channel, a stack, and 5 per operation. And set this to red. Okay, after that, we need a logic channel. Tell it how to use redstone. So come down to your redstone that you had from earlier. We're going to create a sensor, and it is going to be a redstone sensor. It needs to search whenever redstone is greater than 1 and send a redstone signal, or a red color on that channel. So nothing should happen right away, which is exactly what you want. Now, if I walk over this, I got all my Danks back, but I did have a bit of a problem. So let me see what that's all about. Oh, I forgot to tell it to insert into the item router. That makes sense. Okay, let's redeposit these and step on this. I'm getting all of my items. I got all my Danks back, and all my armor has been dispensed to me. Pretty cool. And what's really nice about this is, let me organize my inventory just a little bit here. I like it something like this. I usually don't have a whole lot in my hotbar. I might do something like that. These just usually whatever Danks I have. So now, if I deposit and I get it back, it gave me all my items minus Danks in order. So this is worth mentioning. While you do have all your Danks deposited, you can come to your storage scanner, and this is what's nice about this is you can actually view. Well, first you'd need to make sure that you make all of your docks routable. You can actually view all of the items you have inside your Danks from one menu. Now we can go ahead and tell it how to extract items from our Danks and put it into another system. Let's create an Xnet item channel on the third one. And let's first figure out if you're using drawers or if you're using like some type of digital storage. I'm going to show drawers first because it's quite a bit easier. Actually, it doesn't really matter. They're kind of the same thing. So I've got my drawer controller set up, and we want it on the third one to insert. So it's inserting, but we only want it to insert with a redstone signal on to activate. Okay. And that should just work like that. And now we set up our Danks to extract. Extract, stack, and 5. And this is good as is, so we're going to copy it and we're going to paste it to all these other Dank channels. This is also a dock. It just doesn't show the icon. And paste it. That is much easier. And whenever this connector gets a redstone signal, then it'll be inserted. So basically it has nowhere to go until this gets a redstone signal. So let's set up how it's going to get the redstone signal, which is going to be a button. Probably we'll use these 2 slots here. we need a button screen module and a redstone screen module. So let's grab both of these, and first come down here and set up a unset redstone receiver and assign the button and assign a module to it. Yep, just like that. So now we're going to put our redstone screen module in first and then our button in next. And notice how it doesn't have enough space anymore, so we'll take one more tack screen out. There we go. All right, so on this, we're going to set up. We're going to tell it that whenever it's yes, it's dumping. And I want to get a nice color for that. I'm going to do green, and then I'm going to something like this. There we go. And if there's no redstone signal, it just, it just says nothing. That's fine. It just doesn't say anything. And we're actually going to do that up. We're going to reverse these. I think I'll like that a lot better. Okay, and on the button, we'll have it say deposit. Yeah. And it'll be set up as a toggle. Let's see, how does that look? Well, the off. Maybe I just type something for a moment. And then in the no. There we go. So now it will only deposit whenever I press that button. We got a few things. They're all locked, good. So let's press the deposit. Dumping. It definitely works. All right, so with that, you are officially done. Be sure to let me know what you think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.